Everyone, welcome to this edition of the tape on this Thursday, October 8th, 2020, episode 5 of season 4. Man, like I said, I'm your host as always, Kendrick Dix here. Like I said, this is the take. So, join in the conversation using the hashtag take here on Connect, and don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend, call a friend, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, that bell, to be notified for anything that's going on to take the hub of pop culture or weekly entertainment moments of the week. Man, all right, guys, a lot to get to. Let's get to the big story. The big story this is, all right, we're coming from the follow-up from the Biden and Trump debate. Well, the aftermath of that is that President Donald J. Trump has been stricken with COVID-19. And news broke on how this whole thing came about with this. The president got stricken with COVID-19. Even the first lady got stricken with COVID-19. And you see these tweets the president wrote back and forth. Well, Trump went to Walter Reed Medical Center after his COVID diagnosis and made this comment about his sickness. Take a look.
Maybe come back in. Center, and it's really something very special. The doctors, the nurses, the first responders, and I learned so much about coronavirus. And one thing that's for certain, don't let it dominate you. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to beat it. We have the best medical equipment. We have the best medicines, all developed recently. And you're going to beat it. I didn't feel so good. And 2 days ago, I could have left 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I felt great, like better than I have in a long time. I said just recently, better than 20 years ago. Don't let it dominate. Don't let it take over your lives. Don't let that happen. We're the greatest country in the world. We're going back. We're going back to work. We're going to be out front. As your leader, I had to do that. I knew there's danger to it, but I had to do it. I stood out front. I led. Nobody that's a leader would not do what I did. And I know there's a risk, there's a danger, but that's okay. And now I'm better, and maybe I'm immune. I don't know. But don't let it dominate your lives. Get out there. Be careful. We have the best medicines in the world, and it all happened very shortly, and they're all getting approved, and the vaccines are coming momentarily. Thank you very much. And Walter Reed, what a group of people. Thank you very much.
The media asked whether or not the president was going to invoke the 25th Amendment. I mean, you may not be aware of the 25th Amendment. It means like if the president is not able to do his duties, the vice president take over. If the vice president can't do it, the Speaker of the House does it. Well, let's take it.
Remember, was adopted in the 1967 in the nuclear age, when we were well aware of the enormous risk to the United States and to human civilization of having a mentally unstable person in the presidency in control of the nuclear weapons. And we make a mistake here, and that could mean the death of millions of people or indeed the destruction of human civilization. We have to get this right. and the evidence it's clear. Over and over again, President Trump has demonstrated that he has several serious disorders that we describe in that op-ed. Extreme narcissism. He's focused only on himself, his own battles in life. He describes his sex life as his personal Vietnam. He more recently is obsessed with his fight with the NFL. That goes back to his own lawsuits against the NFL when he tried to start the failed United States Football League. It's all about himself. And now we see a fallen soldier's family treated like dirt. And I guess that's okay to treat a fallen soldier's family like dirt so long as we stand for the national anthem.
Interesting thing is you would think that the 25th Amendment would have been put into practice when Reagan was shot in 1981. It wasn't, because James Baker and others around Reagan, they didn't want a precedent of making a determination as the cabinet that the president was unfit for office. And there's no evidence that they reflected back on James Garfield being on his death, or A. Wilson and his stroke, but I do wonder sometimes if it was in the back of their minds. So the only time the 25th Amendment has ever, due to inability of the president to discharge their duties, the only time it's ever been put in practice is for colonoscopies.
About it, I want to kind of just educate our listeners so they understand that if the president got sicker, we have it in place. Because remember, he's president through January, regardless of the election outcomes and all of that. And maybe even be reelected, and still this could be utilized if necessary. I don't expect, it doesn't look like his physician expects that right now. He's saying he's going to be continuing to carry out his duties without disruption.
What becomes most controversial is Section 4, which states that whenever the vice president and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive departments or of such other body as Congress may by law provide transmit to the President pro tem Speaker of the House the written declaration the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, the Vice President shall immediately assume the powers and duties of the office as acting President. So we have a situation in which
the president ain't gonna give up no power to nobody but himself. But who knows? Probably in November things can change if Joe Biden keeps standing with these numbers. So, like I said, on a personal note, when the president got stricken with COVID-19, he should have been away prepping for his next debate, because he coming out that debate he had with Biden. Like I said, it was held the worst presidential debate ever. Both men was talking over each other. Biden was trying to get his point across. Trump was trying to distract him and stuff like that. It just didn't work. And Trump comes along with this little scheme with COVID-19. You better be careful, because this might cost him the election. Or this shit might just help him with the election. Who knows? Tell you. Okay. All right. On celebrity news, singer Mariah Carey says she and ex-fiance James Packer, the billionaire, well, they didn't have a physical relationship. Now you telling me, if he's a billionaire, and you telling me this? That story reported that Carey and Packer wasn't together and they having a physical relationship. What's the point of Mariah Carey, the world's most popular singer of all time, the best female selling artist of all time in the 90s and beyond? And James Packer, you took her on trips across the world, brought the finest jewelry, brought the finest restaurant, you wine and dining, and you telling me you couldn't get none of that piece of, you know what? Come on, man, what was you doing? You use Mariah Carey as your beard, as your mail-in bride. Well, she wasn't a mail-in bride, but a mail-in girlfriend, and you didn't seal the deal? Man, what's going on? Speaking of that, Avengers star Chris Evans sends a tweet to the president and shows the displeasure to the president with the president's own COVID show with this. Yes, Chris Pratt saying he was disgusted with President Trump sending that COVID pit. I just think Chris Pratt's, he's a event star. Could Captain America take on the U.S. president? Who knows? It's a possibility. But Captain America was displeased, like a lot of others was. The president with his little COVID apprentice show. Oh my God. He knows about The Apprentice. He knows about reality TV well as anybody else do. Also, speaking of that, Empire star Taraji P. Henson gets a talk show on Facebook Watch. Well, the talk show talks about mental health amongst everyone in the black community and across the board that many people don't want to talk about. Kudos for Taraji P. Henson. I'm going to be watching. It's on Facebook, so Jada Pinkett can get a show on Facebook. Anybody can get a show on Facebook. If you talk about entanglement. Speaking of Jada Pinkett Smith, her husband Will Smith, he's getting an honorary award, and he will be receiving the Robin Williams Award for his humanity in comedy. So Will Smith just had to come out there. No, interesting note, Will Smith and Robin Williams did play Aladdin, Genie in Aladdin. Robin played the cartoon Genie from the 1992 version, where Will played the live action Genie from the 2019 version. So polar opposites that come together. All right, on talk shows this week, on the Wendy Williams show, Wendy spoke to via Skype Real Housewives, or former Real Housewives star, and Tardy from the Party star Kim Zolciak, and asked her what she was doing lately. What's Kim been up to? And what to expect from the new season of Tardy, Don't Be Tardy. And their talk of plastic surgery with Dara Brielle joining in the conversation. This.
You've got your family, you don't need the housewives, but there's something going on, like a shakeup. Would you ever go back?
I would go back with the cast today, but I think it'd be really cool to kind of go back to season one and have, all the people that were on season one kind of do it again. I think that would be really fun to kind of see where everybody is. And like Nene, Sheree, and I always had a friendship prior many, many years before the show ever started. So I think that would be kind of fun. I think it's kind of redundant now, like same thing, same fights, same dinners.
But we all watch the same stuff on TV. And after a while, it just becomes so comfortable. It becomes so comfortable that you can't change the channel. All right. I like the lips. I had no problem.
They're better now, I think. Like, I'm really happy with where they're at now. Looking back, it's, I don't know what I was thinking. I think you have to reach that point to kind of go back.
Well, you're 23.
I think that's like an edited.
So, you're the oldest of all the children, and you were criticized on social media. And was that the reason for you getting them lesser?
No, I think I really just got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm not really happy with how I look, and what is the problem? And so I just was like, it's a new year. I dyed my hair darker. Let's do something different. Let's switch it up. And I actually really liked how they looked completely gone, but everybody else was like, no, we just need a little bit because you do look a little crazy. So I went back and I put a little bit in. I'm really happy with how they look. Yeah. Looking back at the photos, I'm like kind of embarrassed a little bit because just at one point it really did get to be.
But she's cute.
Too much. Like,
this girl's cute.
I love it. I think it looks
but
so. This girl now is cute. Whatever you want.
I understand. Are those your natural breasts, by the way?
They sure are. Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome. You deflated mine, sweetie, so I had to buy some.
So you were away for a few months, and then all of a sudden you moved back in the house. Why?
Wendy Williams talking to Kim and Brielle about plastic surgery. Did you see Kim's Zolciak's nose? Her nose is, you can tell she got plastic surgery. She got fillers everywhere. Her nose is up in the air. And Brielle followed suit with her nose up in the air. Man, this family love plastic surgery too much. Bro, I won't be telling them, go get plastic surgery. It look like you blow up, filler. This mother and daughter duo, with the plastic surgery. Kim, can we look at a picture of Kim from 2008, where she first started on reality TV on the Housewives? Okay, that was Kim looked exceptionally better. Now look at Kim now. Good God, what's next? Kim gonna be older, and Brielle gonna be Kim within the next 20 years. Mark my word. Mark my word. All right. Speaking of that, Tamron Hall has some exciting news to share, and we can't wait to hear what she got to say with this.
Is because the adrenaline and the joy of starting this day off with all of you. I do have an announcement to make, though, as I catch my breath. No, I am not pregnant. I'm 50. So that is not an announcement. So hold on to that one. I have, though, another announcement regarding something that we worked on, that it is like raising a child in so many ways. I've just learned, because of the TAM fam, because of you in the virtual audience, you wherever you are, the Tamron Hall Show has been picked up for a third season. And that means we will be on through the year 2022 in these challenging times that we're all facing, to be on for a whole nother season, to be with the TAM fam, to grow the TAM fam through the year 22 and beyond. I'm just so grateful. So I just wanted to, while I'm out of breath, thank you for everything. Thank you for joining the TAM fam, for getting your family members who might not have watched the show in the beginning. You got to watch this show. They're having fun. They're having big conversation. And congratulations to the entire Tamron Hall Show team. And thank you to our partners at ABC Disney for telling us this news. This doesn't happen, so I love to take you behind the scenes. To get a show renewed this early into a season, we've only had 30 days of shows. It's incredible. So thank you, ABC Disney, but thank you, TAM fam.
Yes, Tamron Hall been renewed for early renewal for season 3 of her show. So the show will continue on to 2022. So congratulations ahead to Tamron Hall on this impressive feat. And I guess that Andrew Gillum's story took her to the top. So she got to keep that momentum going with those little controversial interviews. I still can't get over the fact that he's in a marriage and he's bisexual. Oh my God. You know what? It's his world and his wife's world. She just the beard and we all just living it. We all living it indeed. All right. We'll be back with more tape. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the Take. I'm your host as always, Ken Dix here. Glad you're here on the Take on this Thursday, October 8th, 2020, here on Connect. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is Kim. Tell a friend, call a friend, and hit that subscribe button. You won't miss anything that's going on the Take, the weekly hub of pop culture and entertainment moments of the week. Man, another Take here, and you keep us going. And we're the flagship show. We're the first show on Connect. So we're glad you're watching. Thank you all for watching last week. Man, good knowing. All right, let's get to the political rundown. On the political rundown this week, coming a week from the worst modern presidential debate in history, it was Trump's Vice President Mike Pence's turn when him and Kamala Harris, Joe Biden's running mate, took the stage on the debate stage to debate each other on issues that was among to convince the public on healthcare, the same stuff, healthcare, COVID-19, and racial injustice. Take a look.
He's a businessman. He's a job creator who's paid tens of millions of dollars in taxes, payroll taxes, property taxes. He's created tens of thousands of American jobs. And the president said those public reports are not accurate. And the president's also released literally stacks of financial disclosures the American people can review just as the law allows. But the distinction here is that Joe Biden, 47 years in public service, compared to President Donald Trump, who brought all of that experience 4 years ago.
Thank you, Vice
turned
President.
this economy around by cutting taxes, rolling back regulation,
Thank you, Vice
American
President.
energy, fighting for free and fair trade, and all of that's
Thank
on
you,
the
Vice
line
President.
if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
You know, wouldn't take a vaccine if it was released now. If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
But half of
Joe Biden's been a cheerleader for communist China through over the last several decades. And again, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts. When Joe Biden was vice president, we lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs. And President Obama said they were never coming back. He said we needed a magic wand to bring them back. In our first 3 years after we cut taxes, rolled back regulation, unleashed American energy, this administration saw 500,000 manufacturing jobs created. And that's exactly the kind of growth we're going to continue to see as we bring our nation through this pandemic. With a Green New Deal, your massive new mandates, your Paris Climate Accord, it's going to kill jobs this time, just like it killed jobs.
I just need to respond very briefly.
15 seconds, and
Thank
then
you.
we'll move on.
Thank you. Joe Biden. Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
In addition to the vice presidential debate, vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris, Senator of California, and Mike Pence, the vice president of the United States, had a engaging debate. But the most memorable debate during the debate was that Vice President Pence said something flying around, with many of you made comments on it. With this.
What is that? Mike, come on, Mike. Oh my God, it's moving. Oh, go, Lord. What is that?
All right, you see right there? You saw Kamala served Pence. She served him well. You got served on a dish. So Mike Pence and Kamala Harris had their, discussion. It wasn't like this shit show we saw last week with Trump and Biden. Them the two should be running for president, and Trump and Biden should be ones running for vice president. Oh man! All right, speaking of that, former First Lady Michelle Obama took to via social media to convince Trump right voters to not vote for Donald Trump and have a clear conscience on why they're voting for Trump, and they need to be trying to reassess themselves. Well, let's look what the former POTUS had to say about that. Take a look.
COVID crisis is just one example of his negligence. As a Black woman who has, like the overwhelming majority of people of color in this nation, done everything in my power to live a life of dignity and service and honesty, the knowledge that any of my fellow Americans are more afraid of me than the chaos we are living through right now, well, that hurts. It hurts us all. It is a heaviness that sits on our hearts. So I want to appeal for some empathy here too. I want everyone who is still undecided to think about all those folks like me and my ancestors. The moms and dads who work their fingers to the bone to raise their kids right. The teenagers who wear hoodies while working hard to get their diplomas. The millions of folks who look like me and fought and died and toiled as slaves and soldiers and laborers to help build this country. Put yourselves in our shoes for just a moment. Imagine how it feels to wake up every day and do your very best to uphold the values that this country claims to hold dear. Truth, honor, decency. Only to have those efforts met by scorn, not just by your fellow citizens, but by a sitting president. Search your hearts and your conscience, and then vote for Joe Biden like your lives depend on it.
Sorry that Michelle Obama pleading, begging the voters, the Trump voters, to change, make up their minds, the independent, the undecided voters, to, hey, you have a voice, use it. Don't just be listen to his lies and listen to his grandstand, hot dog, like Trump like to do. I think he got that from WWE. Oh my God, he was in WWE. Remember when him and Mr. McMahon went against each other, Battle of Billionaires? That's so long ago, but I remember. But President Trump using that same WWE adage to his advantage. So could it work? We'll see. We'll see. Speaking of that, Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron tries to clear his name, from the black media. Why would a black man who's a lawyer and an attorney general try to clear his name? There's one reason only. Well, Daniel Cameron was part of the prosecution to prosecute on the behalf of Breonna Taylor, but he let the 3 white dudes from the case who killed Taylor, he let them go. And the black media and black went up in uproar. But rapper Megan Thee Stallion went on Saturday Night Live, and some of the black pundits slammed him for not pursuing the Breonna Taylor case as aggressively he should have.
Believe him. At least he's skinfolk, but he is not kinfolk. And so just like he thinks they can't speak for Kentucky because he's up there with a black face, he does not speak for all of us.
I think what I saw this morning was a Bull Connor speech in 2020. And you're right. Unfortunately, it was being given by a black prosecutor.
I'm so disgusted by this. I'm so disgusted by Daniel Cameron's performance. I am so sick and tired of black people going on the air and performing for violence and white supremacy and state-sponsored violence against black people and claiming they're mamas and claiming they're because of black men, they care about it.
Those attacks are so cruel and so vicious and unfair that we hesitated to air
and try to take action on the 3 cops. And Cameron's tried to clear his name on Fox News with this.
That bullet went through the apartment unit and then made a sharp turn left without any obstruction or any impediment to match it up with the entry point of the wound that Sergeant Mattingly suffered. It is a silly notion. It's one of the biggest myths that has been promoted here in the last few weeks. Before 3 weeks ago and before this defense attorney uttered this statement, it was a foregone conclusion that what happened that evening was that Kenny Walker, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, fired a shot at the officers. The officers responded and returned fire, justified in doing so because they had been fired upon. And the tragedy, and again, I've said this from the very beginning, the tragedy here is that Breonna Taylor was in that hallway as well and was hit. Yes. But the tragedy doesn't allow for me to not present the facts and the truth, and that's what we've done here.
Amen. And that's, as an outsider, that was exactly my read on it. It looked like a tragedy. Everyone is sad that she died, but it doesn't seem like it justifies violence in the streets. You said that as well. You said it's not justice for the mob to commit violence, and you were attacked for saying that. What do you make of the response?
Well, again, there were a lot of people inside and outside, a lot of celebrities, a lot of folks that were either misrepresented the facts because it was to their advantage or didn't know all the information. They made conclusions first and then want to cherry pick the facts to meet those conclusions. I don't have that luxury. The Attorney General here in the Commonwealth, My responsibility is to the truth and to the information, and then that is ultimately what leads to the conclusion. We presented all of the information to the grand jury. Ultimately, we present to them as well the fact that the officers, Mattingly and Cosgrove, were fired upon, and they were justified in returning their fire. We've obviously have a prosecution into a third officer that was there that night. I can't get into the specifics because that is an ongoing prosecution. But again, a lot of folks had already made up their mind and weren't interested in what the truth is, and now are still trying to cherry pick so that they can fashion a narrative that meets their agenda and advances their own interests.
Man, I hope someday we can have dinner, and I'm going to ask you what you think of the many other prosecutors who.
Him trying to clear names, and people who don't know what's going on in the case don't need to know. Hey, man, you had opportunity to rewrite history. You could have had charged those dudes. You charged one of them for accidentally shooting in another apartment, but you didn't charge the other two, and you didn't charge them for murder. Plain and simple. And now they call him a race traitor. So, hey man, who is your mama and your daddy? Because they, you black at the end of the day. I don't care what skin you are. Like I said, some of them said you skin folk, but you ain't kin folk. But when you ain't doing the right thing to right the wrongs for racial injustice, then sometimes you the problem. I think that's what's going on with Dan Cameron. He's the problem, but he's not aware of it because he's trying to get in bed with the you know what. So he got to deal with it. And watch what I tell you what's going to happen. Carmen gonna be him just like B. Scott husband. White woman, he was trying to do his dirty deed in front of B. Scott when she was ill, and look at him now. Carmen was a bitch. I'm telling you right now, white woman loved him too. Really. All right. Only reality show clip down this week. Now you remember the show I Love New York. You remember one of the notable contestants, Chance, who's this close to getting New York's heart. Well, Chance is back and he's looking for love, and he's on the Zeus network, so like akin to the VH1 network, but VH1 ain't used to be what VH1 was 10 years ago, about 10, 15 years ago, yearly. And Zeus is trying to pick up where VH1 left off. Well, Chance, here's a preview of what Chance is looking for love in. Real balling for women. Take a look.
No more. We lost our brother real, but staying there is still in the saddle. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a wild time. Where you belong? Don't do that. That shit wasn't funny. There might be some sad times. Just kill me, man. I'm not trying to get my heart broken at the end of the day. I'm getting too old for this.
Do you think love is here, Chance?
Staying there is back in the saddle.
One Mode Chance coming soon, only on Zeus.
Looking for love. Then you gotta remember his brother had passed away too. So Chance trying to find the right one. We'll see on the Zeus network. They got Jocelyn on there. They got Ray J and all the Love Hip Hop stars on there. They might well move Love Hip Hop to Zeus. That's what it's gonna be. Tell me. All right. On Dancing with the Stars this week, host Tyra Banks did a slip up with this.
Right now, and we have 3 couples. So we need to clarify this for 1 second.
Talk about a misstep. Tyra Banks accidentally announced the wrong bottom 2 on Dancing with the Stars. We've got all the details in today's Us Daily.
This is live TV, right? This is the craziness of live TV.
Week 4 of Dancing with the Stars saw some of the top performances from contestants, but all anyone could talk about was that mix-up that caused mass confusion during elimination.
The bottom 2 couples are Ann and Keo, and Monica and Val. Please come back. Please have Monica come back. There's been an error in our control room, but we're making it happen.
Monica and Val made their way back to the dance floor after being deemed safe to face off against Anne Heche and Keough. And in the end, Monica and Val were saved by the judge.